Okay, so hi, my name's Charlotte. I'm from Rochdale Connections Trust. I run the Youth Justice Service mentoring project that's currently running here. It's Hate Crime Awareness Week, and we have some fabulous guests. So I'm going to start by screen sharing. Hopefully this will work. Our nice little statistics here that we've got going on. Fabulous. Now, I don't know why it's not doing it massively for me. So honestly, technology, we will get there. Okay, from beginning, can we all see this?
Yeah.
Fabulous. So, just a big thank you to all of you guys for being involved, to Rachel, to Celia, to Ed, and to our lovely Beth. It is a very sensitive topic, and I do appreciate you coming on to talk about it with me today. Hate crime is defined as a crime, typically one involving violence, that is motivated on prejudice or the basis of race, religion, sexual orientation, or just anything else that is really just basically a douchey reason to be having a go at someone, to be honest, yeah. By LGBTQ, now correct me guys if I'm wrong in this, I'm not being ignorant on purpose. LGBTQ plus stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer or questioning. Now, the questioning bit was new to me, so I just thought it meant queer, so I was quite impressed with that little one of knowledge. We learned something new, guys. You might also see it written as LGBTQA with the A signifying ally or asexual. Does this sound right? Oh, see? Come on, Charlotte. Yeah. Okay. In the last year, police received on average 2 reports of homophobic hate crime every hour, which is massive, I personally think. Reports of homophobic hate crime have trebled in 5 years, which again is mortifying considering the amount of awareness that is going around at the moment, and people just shouldn't be okay with it. In 2014-2015, there were 6,655 homophobic hate crimes that were recorded by the 45 different police precincts across the UK. In 2019 and 2020, that had increased to 18,465. So that's quite a big difference to me. The thing that really, really gets me is, as I was doing my research into this, it's genuinely believed that 80% of hate crimes don't get reported. That 80% of the people in this community don't feel comfortable coming forward and reporting these crimes. Or the saying water off a duck's back got used a lot. Like people will just, they won't recognise it as being that, which I don't particularly, which I can see as being real, because I suppose it'd be very much like domestic violence with regards to how we can secure an actual number. It'd be very difficult if we can't get it out there. So I'm just going to stop sharing that for 1 minute, because we don't need to know the end bits for now. So how do we feel about them statistics? Do we feel like they're real, like it's an accurate reflection of what we've lived through or what you've seen? Right, Beth is nodding there. Go on, Beth, what are you saying, love? What are you saying? And you're nodding, you agreeing?
Yeah.
Yeah, have you experienced it at schools with people you know and things like that?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's mad how many people make even just this like little comments.
Yeah, like don't know, my generation used to call everything gay. Oh, that's gay. Oh, that's gay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think people understand how much that can be quite offensive, because you're saying it negatively, and actually is being gay negative? Kind of means happy.
It shouldn't be used as an insult.
No, I agree with you. So what experiences have we had over these little bits of sort of, maybe not hopefully being thrown on the floor and beaten up, that'd be heartbreaking, but like if we had little comments made at us and things? And
I have been thrown on the floor and beaten up.
Oh my God, Celia.
It was a while ago. I was 17 at the time. Stupidly went to Rochdale with my friends. And at the time, I'd not started my transition. I wasn't even, like, I wasn't sure whether I was trans or not. And I was just waiting for a taxi to go home, and then I got battered by 2 lads and ended up in hospital for 3 days. And yeah, that's what happened to me. And it was a really scary moment. And like even after that, I had to go and get counselling. Like it really affected me. But not just then, but even, you know, like within the next year of that, I got to a point where I was a bit scared to leave the house. So I sort of just stripped myself back, stopped wearing like makeup and all stuff like that. But you know, I'm over it now. It's not the point, is it? Like, it just shouldn't happen.
No, it shouldn't happen. You shouldn't make me feel agoraphobic and as though you can't leave your house because you're good at putting eyeliner on and you like to feel pretty. I don't think there's anything wrong with that personally, you know. And even if that wasn't the case, because this is pre-thing, so what's the only reason that you're gay? Like, why do they feel like they need to do that? That's what upsets me. Yeah, we're all very confused. What, sorry, Rachel?
Bravado. Sticking up with the
Bravado.
mates.
See, why does that make you feel good? This is what we need to raise awareness for, isn't it? It's like, I remember being 18 and overhearing these boys on the bus talking about gay bashing, which is basically where they just went to the gay village to kick off fights. Why? It's absolutely...
Have you ever
now,
seen the film The Imitation Game?
No, I haven't actually. Imitation Game.
It's all about Alan Turing. You know, he helped with the what's it called now? The Enigma machine.
All right.
He's a really big scientific mind from Manchester, and he said the only reason people punch or get aggressive is to feel power. It's actually a really good film. He committed suicide after being found guilty of being gay, and he ate a poisoned apple after he was put on I can't think, drugs to stop you feeling gay, you know.
Yeah.
Stop you feeling
But it's a really powerful story.
Is it a sedation technique or something? This is
Something
insane.
like that. I can't think of the name of the drugs though. But he committed suicide, but he saved over, 2.5 million lives and shortened the war by 4 years.
Wow.
And they pretty much killed him.
He got arrested for being gay, didn't they? And then he killed him.
I mean, historically, either society has tried to, you know, as Celia mentioned before, strip queer people back. You know, we found ourselves in environments growing up where we felt we've had to strip ourselves back to keep ourselves protected. You know, that's kind of the reality that most queer people live under. You know, I have to say things usually get a little easier the older you get, but that's because of learned behaviours and chosen family, and us learning to put ourselves in safer environments. But certainly society at large is still not, you know, safe for queer people at large.
See, I find that I mean, I've never had to live through not being accepted in that way for something as so pure as who you are. So I can't relate as a person, but the people in my life, I don't have any homophobic people in my life. When you hear things like that happening in 2020 that you would expect to be from like the 50s and it's still happening now, find it really, really concerning, you know, because you think that it's not happening out there. And, you know, I've worked with young people that really celebrate how they are, but again, they hold themselves back. There's certain areas of Rochdale, like you were saying, Celia, like maybe, and that's sad. And it was when I realised that, and that was coming from myself, I just thought that stigmatism is awful. And we really just need to fight it as much as we can, because wow, the fact that it still follows you into adulthood. I mean, children are cruel. We expect it in schools a little bit. It shouldn't happen, but you know, you'd expect them to grow out of it maybe after 18, because what business is it of anybody else's what your sexuality is or what parts?
I think that, like, if it doesn't affect you personally, why go out your way to destroy someone else? I personally don't understand it. Like, it's got nothing to do with you. Just let me live my life and be happy. You live your life and be happy. Happy days. But that's not how it is.
It's because, Celia, darling, they're not living their lives and being happy, I don't think. Exactly. I think they're quite miserable as people. Otherwise, they wouldn't see happiness and expression in others and feel so threatened by it. You know, like, it's awful. So the first question that I've got of one of my young people were, how old were you when you knew who you were inside versus how old were you when you actually came out and showed everybody you're glamorous, you know?
6 or 7,
Nice.
and I came out gay at 19, and I came out trans at 33.
Wow, that's quite a gap, isn't it?
Just a bit.
Did you know you were trans at a young age? Did you know
Yeah.
you wanted to transition?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's got to have been quite a struggle, really, hasn't it? Through the
At 15 or 16, I'm an old git. So, there wasn't much information on the internet, but what I did find, I studied that much, I could give myself the surgery at 15 or 16 if I had the tools. That's
just
how
kept
much,
reading.
yeah. But
Oh, heck, that
the way
sounds like quite a journey.
the way Middleton is these days, there's one trans girl, I'm not sure if she still lives with me, called Tanya, and that's the only trans girl that
Right.
and she got a lot of hate, and in the newspapers, and
Wow.
Yeah, it's like a tool of gossip as well, isn't it? So even people
Yeah.
who believe that they're liberated and that they're quite accepting, you hear
but
talk sometimes.
this was 10 years before social media was about.
Right, right. Because I've noticed you actually have a page, don't you, on Facebook to encourage people to have a nice community. Is it the Middleton transgender one? So it does bring people together, social media. It does help you sort of bond more, is what I'm sort of hearing. But without all that, I can imagine it's quite lost,
But
isn't it?
you'd be surprised at some pages, they just let anyone on.
Right, okay.
And I screen people. I go through every bit of social media before letting them on.
Right, okay.
And I'd call them something else, but there's young people on there.
PG.
PG, yes. So Ed, how old were you, darling?
I probably started questioning inside my mind maybe around 11 years old, and then I probably came out fully around 19.
Okay, so you were quite all right with it in your teenage years, just going, actually?
Yeah, I think I would have come out much sooner, but obviously I grew up still with the Tory legislation in place of not being able to talk about queer issues in school, so it just wasn't an open conversation as I was growing up. So, you know, you were kind of left to deal with those questions on your own. Definitely, you know, saw it as something outside of the normal, whereas, you know, it wasn't until I was kind of out and interacting with the world in my own terms where I kind of really felt the freedom to feel comfortable with who I was in my own way and embrace that.
So how old were you when you got into all the makeup and all these fabulous costumes that made me green with envy on Facebook?
So I've worked with drag queens for years. So I worked as a dancer and then, you know, aerial performer.
It's exceptional, guys.
For several years, I worked as a male backing dancer at the Birdcage.
Wow.
So I've been very familiar with working with drag performers for many years. And then last year I suffered a back injury. I herniated a disc and wasn't able to do any of my dancing or aerial performance anymore. Happy end to the story. I've had surgery and it's all gone well and getting back to it. But I found myself really in need of a creative performance outlet. And with having a lot of good drag friends in my social circle, and having seen them work their fabulous selves for many a year, as I was laid up post-surgery, not being terribly mobile, I thought I'd give the makeup a try. Just kind of, you know, got the tools of the trade needed and had a little bit of a play. it was kind of a nice creative outlet that didn't involve a spine. And fortunately I wasn't terrible at it, and you know, was able to paint a fairly decent face. And then I thought I'd take that a little bit further. As my spine was getting better, I thought maybe I could get some work from this avenue as well. I did manage to get a few jobs. Unfortunately, they didn't come through because lockdown hit, but yeah, that's kind of my story with drag. Obviously, I've not done much recently, but you know, fill it.
Well, you put on makeup better than me, mate. I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
As we sit there agreeing with envy. Celia, my darling, looking fabulous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was, do you know what? I came out at 16 as gay. I'm not entirely sure when I knew, to be honest with you. I remember I've always been a really, really effeminate child anyway.
Yeah.
I remember when I was about 5, my friend gave me this tutu, and I just used to wear it all the time, dance around the house. And to be fair, I didn't even know I was obviously I didn't think I was gay at that point, because I didn't know what it was. I've never ever at that point met another gay person. Bearing in mind I'm 5, up till when I was like 12, I didn't even know gay was like a thing.
Right.
Like I didn't know it was. So obviously I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so different? So, you know, it was really hard. But then I think I got in high school, and then I knew I was just like really trying to hide it. Ended up getting a girlfriend, you know, cover up. And then I ended up going into college, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I've got to come out. I came out as gay, and it wasn't till like just over a year ago I realised, you know what, like, because I started doing drag when I was about 18, and it wasn't till like a year ago I realised, you know what, I'm not a drag queen, I'm not just gay, like I feel like I need to take this further.
Yeah.
I'm trans. So I came out September last year to my parents. Yeah.
Wow. Was it harder to come out trans or gay?
Oh, definitely trans.
Gay
Definitely.
for me.
For me, it
Actually,
was.
I've not had any problem. Everyone knew anyway.
Right. My friends all knew, they saw it. How do you feel hearing that, Beth? Does that feel like that's still the way, like, the younger generation deals with this sort of issue?
It depends who it is, I think. He recently just came out, had his name changed on the register and everything.
Nah.
And the amount of comments he still gets on a daily basis is
Awful. Awful. Wow. I
All
mean,
of
that
them.
to me has just sparked something interesting, because they've changed the name on the register. So is this young person, we won't say the name, but are they trans?
Yeah.
And they've changed the name on the register? Right, so that's a different level of acceptance, and maybe a little bit of growth educational wise if they're changing names, especially after like what they've said about there's not been awareness when they were in school, or you know, there's a lot of confusion, the conversation wasn't open, there was no education about it. Do you have more of a LGBTQ plus sort of education given to you at school now? Do you have more awareness raised around it?
we're working on it at the moment. The ambassadors, we're putting up posters recently, and we're trying to work on sex education,
Nice.
because it's all centered around protectiveness for straight people, but obviously we only rely on the internet that way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
I think in schools as well, it must be getting better. My little cousin, she's only about 13, and she has a friend who's trans, and he is is changing like the changing rooms that they have in PE. So
Right.
like they're willing to go like that far to support him. So I think
Oh.
it's just I couldn't imagine that happening in my school when I was that
No
age. Like, it's
chance.
amazing.
No.
Well, I didn't do PE. I'd rather sit in the library.
Did you really? I avoided that PE business. Well, see, I
Yeah,
hated PE
definitely.
until I left. Until I
No, I
left.
don't want my head trampled on by bigger boys. Stop that. I'm reading a book.
No,
So
well,
that's it.
if they're the two options, Rachel, I'm fully with you on that one, my dear.
So,
The one question that did sort of strike me that one young person asked was, have your parents ever not believed you? So the young person in question who asked this, their parent argues with them about it, believes it's a bit of a phase. They're in the, you know, this person is older than you all have said that you were when you realised that you were coming out. So, you know, have you ever had anything like that from people that were so significant, like your caregivers in this world? Because that can be quite demoralising as well, can't it?
when I was 13, because I'm diabetic, I was in and out of hospital all the time with hormonal stuff, diabetes and all that. And my mum told the diabetic nurse, who I always thought, said, "Don't worry, be ready when she's ready."
Yeah.
Right. I never went to my mum until not March to school, the March before, because I thought she'd kick me out for being trans.
She did.
And then she said to me, said, "I knew from a young age I was just waiting for you to come to me." So she would have said, "I know you're trans," at 13-year-old. I would have transitioned then. We would have found something then.
Yeah.
But
Oh, so she was waiting for more you to come and approach her and tell you, but you know what I'm hearing is, it would have been better if you'd have please just come and told me. Like, I know a lot of people who said, "Oh, I knew he was gay before he knew he was gay," and things like this in general life. Because, like you said, as a young person, you do express yourself in different ways, but that can get a little bit blurry in 2020 because there's so many different things. So just because you're a bit effeminate, for example, doesn't mean that you would become trans. Just because you like to wear makeup doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be a drag queen or that you'd be gay, for example. It can be very, I mean, obviously there are statistics.
But when you ask for a pink bedroom at age 7 or 8, kind of gives it away.
Well, you know, who doesn't want a pink bedroom? It's the best colour. She says in black, but whatever, Charlotte, whatever.
My family still think it's a phase, like now. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But I got this when I came out, when I told them I was gay. "Oh, it's a phase, it's a phase." And obviously, they found out it wasn't a phase. And they was like, "Oh, you always have to take it one step further," when I came out as trans. And they're like, "Oh, it's just a phase, it's just a phase." I'm like, "Go, please." But yeah, they still think it's a phase now. I've lost family members because of it, and they say to me like, "Oh, like when you're out of this phase, I'll speak to you again." And I'm like,
no, see, that's awful, isn't it? You know, once you're out of this phase, we'll talk to you. So they're going to stop talking to you for being trans. See, that's hate crime in itself to me. It might not be physical violence, but it's emotionally damaging, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like it's my sister. We've been so close. We're absolutely like best mates, and now this has happened. I've not spoken to her for about 5 months, something like that. So it's pretty. I've maybe said hi or hello, but that's literally it. We've stopped speaking now. Just sad, but you know, I've got to do what's healthy for me.
Absolutely. I mean, it's still going to be really rough to feel so abandoned for being yourself, isn't it? But you've got to keep shining. You've definitely got to stop being what you are. You just get really, really poorly, don't you? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
I would. Ed, have your parents ever doubted?
I've been really lucky with my parents that, you know, with being gay. Usual thing, my mum was like, "Oh yeah, I always knew," and my dad was fine with it. I guess that the only issue I've ever had with family members has actually been from another member of the LGBTQ plus community. So my auntie is a lesbian, and her fiance, you know, unfortunately is a member of the LGBT Alliance, and you know, we would, you know, amongst our community, pretty much call her a TERF. and I can't get on board with that at all. The rhetoric that she comes out with is pretty atypical of somebody who would associate themselves with the LGB Alliance, and that's just a straight put off for me. There's no desire for a relationship or compromise or
No.
and it boggles my mind how a fellow member of the LGBTQ plus community can even be on board with any of those thoughts and opinions, really, and it's really disappointing.
Well, I read an article about RuPaul being quite transphobic, and that really bothered me.
You'd be surprised at how many people in the community fight against each other instead of someone outside, which you'd expect. But there's so much bitchiness and all that. It's unbelievable. You have more comments off the gay community or the lesbian community than anyone else. It's just, we should be fighting against this, not
it should be a team effort.
Not having a civil war.
Oh, that's awful. That's awful. See, could that, because the judgments and the categories that get put into, it's like you said, everybody's attacking each other, and it's really cruel. And then nobody wants to be themselves, and then everybody's sad because they can't be themselves, and it's awful. You know, if somebody turned around to me and said I couldn't do what I wanted to, if I couldn't go have a baby, for example, if that's what I wanted to go and do, then it's, what do you mean? You know, if you want to go wear the clothes you want to wear, I don't understand why this should be something that everybody attacks each other over. But
it's like the J.K. Rowling situation as well.
It's what, sorry?
The J.K. Rowling situation.
Yeah, she was a big one.
Millions of young kids grew up idolising her because they made their childhood and made people in our community feel safer, you know, getting away by reading her books. Now she's coming out with all this rubbish. It's not right.
No.
And people are supporting her, and it's like, come on. Then you get Eddie Redmayne as well, who played the trans girl in The Danish Girl, siding with her as well, and it's just not right.
No, especially if you're in a position of influence like that, that's quite an irresponsible way to use it, I personally think. But, so Beth, do you have any questions, lovely?
Nothing I can really think of right
Put her
now.
on the spot now. When you were young and you were struggling with these sort of transition problems or with these problems of coming out with who you are, what advice would you have wanted to hear from either people close to you or from your friends, or what support would have really helped you at that time?
We're here for you.
We're here.
Whatever you do. Simple as that.
We accept you exactly as you are.
I think that's what it comes down to. It's just knowing you've got people that are going to support you no matter what. If someone would have said to me at a really good age, oh, like, you can do this, and you know, our relationship's not going to change. You know, if someone's behind me, backing me up, I can run the miles. I can be who I want to be. But you know, if everyone's against you, like this, like resistance, it's really hard to go forward if you're getting pushed back.
Yeah.
When I came out last year, I had over 600 messages in 2 days.
Wow, nice ones, I'm hoping.
From people all over the world, including, you must have heard of Entrance.
Yes.
Set You Free. I'm friends with the lad who wrote Set You Free.
Right.
And that was actually wrote as a gay anthem.
Right, I didn't know that.
So he was one of the first people to wish me luck. And it's
claim to fame. I like that we learned something new here. I didn't know that was a gay anthem. I'm loving it. Loving that.
Yeah.
What do?
Because his sister is lesbian.
Right, okay, so he's done it for her. It's like an
Yeah.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fab.
Unfortunately, I've had no one famous wish me luck.
Me neither. Me neither. It's absolutely rough. Don't know. I think I'd just get starstruck if someone famous come at me anyway, to be honest. I think I'd be more impressed by Cirque du Soleil. Right, one big question that I maybe not have a very easy answer because you might not have stopped yet. But one person has asked me, how did you stop caring what other people think enough to do this?
My cat died.
Your
I
cat
said,
died.
so my cat died of cancer last year. I thought, because he was my best mate, he was only 6-year-old, and I just thought, okay, I'm doing it. Because if I hadn't come out last year, I'd be dead by now. I'd be dead by the end of summer.
So it was on last. That's so recent, considering that you started your journey so young.
I know.
It's like such a long journey for you, isn't it? And it just, see, this is what I get to the point where it can just be, you know.
I just thought, sod it. So why just live for the day and just? But I don't care what anyone thinks.
Stopped.
Yeah.
Their opinions don't matter at all.
No, it's not worth it.
No, I agree, lovely. Ed?
I think the older I've gotten, I suppose the more supportive and safer environment I've found myself in. You know, from career choices, people have chosen to have in my life, and I guess sometimes I question: am I in a safe and supportive environment because I've lived honestly as I am, or is it because I've chosen to put myself in a safer environment? I am now more honest. Like, it is one influencing the other? Is it kind of a symbiotic natural thing? But that's certainly what's kind of led to me feeling like I don't care what anybody else thinks. I'm you know, have agency over my own life. I'm surrounded by good people. I have a really good work environment, and whether that's through choice or things have just naturally kind of headed that way, I now find that I'm in the position that I would have liked to have been when I was younger. You know, I feel like I'm in a safe environment. I'm supported by the people that are around me, and I know those facts to be true. So now I don't have to care. It's very difficult to not care if you don't feel safe and supported.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're feeling a threat every 5 minutes and even leaving the house, then it's going to be, it's more than caring about what they think, it's caring about your own safety there, isn't it? And worrying if you're vulnerable. About you, Celia, lovely?
I think over the years, I've just grown thick and skin to it. At the end of the day, I don't want to say it is just words, because words can hurt like more than physical pain. But I just think, you know, sometimes when words do it, I might go home and I'll have a think. I'll think about the support system I've got, and like I'll make a list of all the good things I've got going in my life.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like overweighs the bad things, which is really good. And I just think, what is the alternative? Is it going back into the closet? And you know, that'd just be way worse. I've done it before, like when I first got battered. Like I said, I toned myself down, and it was just horrible. And I just think I'd rather be who I am and, you know, get the odd comments than go back into the closet. I mean, I prefer to not get the odd comments, but you know, you just gotta deal with it. Like, I've got people I can talk to who are gonna like lift me up. Again, it comes back to having a support system. And to anyone who's not got a support system, I really strongly recommend you get one, because honestly, before I had a good support system, my life was just so chaotic and a mess and self-destructive as well, because I didn't have people to speak to about it. So I'm very much get a support system.
So what would you say to a young person who had suffered a hate crime and was worried about reporting it?
Do it. Just at the end of the day, these look. To be honest, I just depend. I don't know. I haven't been through it. But if you get beaten up like Celia has, I'd just go to the police. It's not worth letting them.
What if you were getting harassed? So they weren't physically touching you, but you were getting verbally. So say it was somebody in your school, and every time you went into school, you got called something degrading or something nasty, some nasty slur, and they just didn't want to tell anyone. But it had say been 4 to 5 months of this, and it had never got any better, and they weren't stopping.
Oh, if someone did that to me at school, it wouldn't have lasted a month. It wouldn't have lasted a week.
Right.
Even though how bad my school was, there are some really decent teachers around who will help you.
So speak up and tell people what's happening so they can help.
Nip it in the bud.
Yeah, absolutely. Celia, Ed, do we have any advice we'd give?
Just
go on, Ed. I'll let you speak.
Just seek it, get it reported, make sure it's somebody you trust, particularly if it's a school environment. Hopefully, we all have that one teacher that we maybe identify with a little bit more, go to where you're most comfortable, get it reported, get it dealt with. If you need discretion for any reason, if you're speaking to somebody that you trust, you can rely on them to do that for you, to keep you safe if that's needed. Otherwise, hopefully the school at large is a really nice, safe and supportive environment, and you can just go through the appropriate channels to get it dealt with.
Wow, thank you. Celia?
Yeah, see, I just think, just report it. Obviously, it's happened to me. I reported it, and we got something like 17 months jail time.
Good.
And then I know just at the Pride just gone, it wasn't much for Pride, but one of my trans friends got hit. So one of my trans friends and a gay friend, they got hit. It was on the floor, like getting beaten.
Is that the one in the news?
Yeah. And the people who started that, they went to jail as well. They got arrested. I don't know how long for, but I think you should report it with less expectations. So if something does happen, then great. If not, then at least it's down like the record. You know what I mean?
Seek help, your support network. I mean, there are laws in place that are quite tough now. So if it is found to be a hate crime, they do come down on you a lot harder, for example, than you would otherwise. But it's still quite a traumatic experience, isn't it? You have to go in, make your statement, go to court, get questioned about it. But it's definitely worth it in the long run to raise this awareness. Up to 80% was the statistic, wasn't it, of unrecognised hate crime, and that's really a large number.
I like to think society's changed for the better to some degree, and it's only going to continue to change if people stand up to that sort of behaviour. If you let it slide, nothing's ever going to change.
No, very true, very true. Right, well, I did want to end on a more positive note because we don't all have very nego stories, I'm sure. So I wanted to maybe ask you maybe not who, but like what inspired you the most in your journey full on throughout it all? What one moment has inspired you the most and made you feel like actually, this is me and I am very happy right now in whatever it is that I am doing? Did somebody help you? Was there a teacher, a friend? Was it you saw an advert one day, you saw something on telly? Like, what brought you spark?
I've known this lad for he was 12 or 13. He's about 8 years younger than me, and we talk about Formula One and all that. So we know because he used to hang around with my brother.
Yeah.
And last year, while I was searching for dresses online, before I came out, I saw a picture, and it was this person who I've known, and they've got a massive social media following. And I just gave them a message, didn't think I'd get anything back. And we went for a brew, and I told them when came out that night. So they've been a big help to us. But even they are scared coming out round here.
Yeah.
Because they're married with 2 children. So they're gender fluid, non-binary. Right. But it's shocking how someone with that massive following is that scared to come out. And it's not right at the end of the day, but they've helped me. And at the end of the day, they've said I've helped them as well.
So it is all support,
it's
isn't it?
Roundabout.
Yeah. Oh, see, that's really nice that you can everybody, because so even if there's 10 douchey people on this planet, there's say 20 awesome people that do want to encourage it. We just need to like lower that douchey statistic down a little bit, maybe bring them onto the other side. That would be nice, wouldn't it? What's inspired you to? And you, Beth, have you had any inspiration come at you?
YouTubers, probably.
YouTubers, okay, that's interesting. It's all your generation's thing, YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you know, it makes you feel better about yourself when you see other people with huge amounts of followers and huge amounts of people who, you know, who love them, and they're just completely accepting of who they are.
Nikki tutorials. No one knew she was trans until, was it last year?
Last year.
It's no one's business anyway, is it? Hey, she's fabulous.
The only reason she got, because she was outed by some idiot.
Oh.
But she's everyone came to support her when she came out. Apart from Ellen.
Big, isn't it, in matters of support, that though, because you can be so scared and then actually you get the opposite of what you expected to happen, which is really reassuring in this sort of a situation, isn't it? It's like inspiring. Celia, Ed?
Definitely, like what Bethany said, for me, it's been seeing other trans women in the media and out in public just living the best life. It's so happy. And I used to get really, really envious, like, oh, I wish I had the guts to do that. And one day I just thought, you know what, life's way too short. I had a bit of a breakdown with my mental health, and then I just realised, you know, the only way is up now. I'm just going to do it. And then from there, I went forward, and it's been so liberating, like a massive weight's off my shoulders. I've never, ever been happier. So I would not recommend, but just be yourself, like, and you'll be happy.
Yeah. See, I'm jealous of people like Celia and Bethany being that young and coming out.
See, that's another way of going on it, isn't it?
But like I said, 15 years ago when I was 19, 17 years ago when I was 19, and coming out trans, you'd never heard of it.
No.
Well, not round here, you didn't.
That just shows the progression we've come now. Like,
absolutely. I love that. Ed, what about you? What's your most inspiring moment through it all?
For me, I think it was, I don't know, maybe it was a collection of moments, but I think performing was probably the big thing for me. I think it, rather than taking something from the outside world, there's something about performance that turns the lens back in on yourself and really makes you connect yourself in a really genuine way. And I think if you can be your own biggest celebrator, and your own biggest support, and everything else is a bonus on top of that. And for me, performing gives you access to the ability to be able to do that. And it might not be for everybody, but just any kind of form of self-expression, anything that makes you feel alive, makes you connect with yourself, and allows you to, you know, maybe ask some difficult questions sometimes, but also really love what you can do and celebrate yourself as well.
Oh, well, thank you so much, everyone, for all your awesome time today. I just want to quickly share, actually, before we pop off, this, I'll get up the slideshow from current slide. The help that's available. So you may be able to add some more onto this, but obviously the Proud Trust, or maybe not. The Strong Family Alliance is something that I found with regards to the family. So say a young person is in the LGBTQ+ community and you're not sure how to support them, how to deal with them. That's the whole point of this Strong Family Alliance. They're here to encourage more acceptance, to help you understand how your family member or your friend is coming along. We've got the LGBT Foundation, justlikeus.org. Is it the Proud Trust, Beth, that's in Rochdale?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's for young people, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so these are the ones that I found that were sort of in our local area. There's obviously a lot more available, I'm hoping, nationwide. And that's just some random little bits of information about how to connect with us at RCT. So our video today will be on our social media. I'll send it to you all personally anyway, because we all like to have a nice little gander. So thank you very much for spending time with us today. I really appreciate all of your time. I'm sure everybody will love hearing what you've got to say.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
See you
Bye.
later.